Hello and welcome back to the Be Wild vlog. So just a few points I want to make today. I feel like I've been forced to lose track of my plan of giving some decent information regarding the Jay Slater case. Arguing with the likes of Duncan and Mama D and just sort of getting caught up in this childish back and forth lovers tiff is not really benefiting anybody, and it's quite embarrassing for all of us, really. I know I certainly feel embarrassed. I want to actually start to do what I came to do, and that is to provide some information from a perspective that nobody else seems to have. You know, there's certain information that I have and that I can access that I'm not really sure other people are getting. First thing I want to go back to, I've just been watching Duncan Smith's latest video. He's run out of people to accuse, and now he's blaming a quad bike company. You know, again, it's all good to say what's on your mind, but to be naming this business and to say that because they might also have business with restaurants, that they're potentially money laundering or involved in the drugs world, I just think that's so rude. Like, that's somebody's business, that's somebody's livelihood. If you've got information like that and you've got proof, take it to the authorities. But if you've got no proof, you've got to stop just dragging people through the mud. It's all he ever does. He picks on somebody, he creates a theory about how they could be involved, tarnishes their reputation and their name, and then realizes he's got no actual evidence. And so he's like, okay, let's find somebody else to point the finger at. It's not good. It's not good. It's not good journalism. It's not good investigative traits. It's just not good. It's actually really poor form. And I don't know these quad bike companies, but I just feel annoyed for them. I just think it's just gross to do that. Also, I can see that he's going on again about the edit in the Central Club podcast. Let me explain to you now. There is no way that Cullen would have taken something out that could have potentially been a hook. If he was going to take something out intentionally, he would have took the entire segment out. Why would you think that Cullen is stupid enough to cut something in such a concise place that it still gives you half the story and leaves you questioning when he could just take the rest out? It makes no sense. There was no intentional cuts from that podcast. There was no intentional cuts from that podcast. We're just going around in circles listening to these people that just don't know anything at all. Just pointing a finger. I've said it from the beginning, throwing shit at a wall and hoping that something sticks. That's what he's doing, to the point that now we are running out of people to blame or to bully and terrorize. So now we're in a position where we have to blame a quad bike. Are you okay, mate? You didn't answer my question about Mark Williams Thomas, Duncan. Do you know him? Do you personally know Mark Williams Thomas? I'm just curious. Also, I'm curious, like, this is not important, but it's just my curiosity. I'm also curious about the thing Luggy asked you that you never answered. Is there really a Mrs. Smith? Because I don't think anybody could put up with you. And you keep going on about Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Smith. Well, you know, put her on the camera or get her to say something off camera. And don't let it be one of those honey for money girls. We want to know. Is he blagging? Is he who he says he is? I wanted to start avoiding talking about Duncan, but then I've just looked today and he's blabbering his gob off again, talking crap all the time. I can't believe he's now blaming a quad bike company. This thing about me flip-flopping with my beliefs on the narrative of what happened to Jay, that's not true. I've always believed that there was foul play. Always. The only thing that made me start to question if maybe I was just looking for a conspiracy theory is Duncan. Because I think Duncan is desperate to find something, to the point where he is exhausting himself of conspiracy theories at a rapid rate. I'm wondering how long it's going to be until he can't do any more videos because he's got nobody else to blame. He's going to blame every restaurant, every bar, every quad bike hire company, he's going to end up blaming every single person in Tenerife and every single person that has been to Tenerife in the last year. If you go back to the Central Club podcast, I made it very clear what my beliefs are. Very, very clear. My beliefs are Jay went to Masca with Ayub and Rocky, was in good spirits, and I don't believe that there was any intention to do him harm from Ayub and Rocky. I do believe that throughout the night, when Ayub and Rocky may have been asleep, Jay, for some reason, got in a panic and left and fled. I think that maybe somebody was on their way to him. Maybe Ayub had not realized that there was a problem, given somebody his location. I don't think Ayub was to blame. I just don't. I just don't. But Ayub may not be telling us that he's like, oh yeah, his mate asked for my address because to check where Jay was. And next thing, Jay's panicking. I don't know. That's an assumption on my part. But I do think that Jay left in a panic, in a hurry. The thing about the knives, so people seem to think that it was Mark Williams Thomas that mentioned these two knives, but we talked about this the other day. That's apparently a rumor. I've looked back and I can't find anything where it says that he left with two knives. I can see Mark Williams Thomas saying that he has reason to believe that Jay took certain precautions before he left. And then I've been told that Haley Comet was the one who said that she heard from a source about the knives. We can't really believe in this knife theory because we have no evidence. Ayub said that he knew nothing about knives until Mark Williams Thomas spoke to him. And Mark Williams Thomas said, are you aware of Jay having knives or something? And then he was like, so maybe my life was endangered if Jay had these knives. I don't know if he left with knives, but I do believe in what people are saying that he left in a panic. Mark Williams Thomas, I called him out on this just the day that he decided to announce he's going to do a TV show. I still think he should give us this information now. I don't want to wait for this TV show. I want it now. Why is he holding it back? He's just keeping us all on the end of his line. Like, stop being so selfish. Why did Jay leave in a hurry? You say you've got it on good authority. I don't trust him at the best of times. So I don't know why I'm allowing myself to believe him on this. Because if this turns out to be a lie, which it's been claimed that it is, then it changes the whole narrative. Jay might have just left because he was bored. He wanted to go find the party. And then it makes me wonder, well, if he didn't leave in a panic, that's that one bit of information that I'm giving Mark Williams Thomas my faith. If he didn't leave in a panic, there's no reason to believe that he was pushed or he was chased to land him ending up in the ravine. Chris Tenerife and Luggy, I've got some questions for those guys too, because I'm under the impression that Chris was the person that found Jay's body. If I'm wrong, please accept my apology. But if that is the case, I'm sure maybe Chris could give us a bit more of an insight into how Jay was found, why he believes that it was a fall, not a push. Although he did say that there's like a part where you could go down, but you would be trapped and you wouldn't be able to get back up. Which, when he explained that, I looked at his eyes through the camera and I thought, you know what? I can make at least what you're saying makes sense. There is sense in what you're saying. I also want to know, like, did Jay have any belongings on him? I don't know if Chris was the one who actually helped retrieve the body out, or if obviously the police and whatever went down, crime scene, etc. So, fair play, whatnot. But then they're saying that his body was found with injuries consistent of a fall. Well, pardon me for being blunt, but I assumed that like his head was caved in or something. But what's consistent with a fall? Because is consistent with a fall the same as consistent with a gentle slip and then dehydration? When they say consistent with a fall, I thought his body was in quite a bad shape, which is why then it's like, oh, was it a fall or was it that he was battered and then thrown? These are questions I've got, and I do wonder if Chris Tenerife could shed any light on some of this information. Even if you could just contact me privately and have a chat, I'd be curious to know. Nobody owes it to me, and I've always said this: nobody owes me any answers. Nobody has to watch my videos. It's none of my business. I'm nosy, but I've got an opinion. I'm here. I'm giving it. If you want to listen, you can listen. If you don't, bye. What else? So, Ayub, people rinsed me, actually, Duncan included, rinsed me over my appearance on the Central Club podcast because, to cut a long story short, people were saying that I was helping cover for Ayub. I was being nicey nice, trying to cover for him. On two separate occasions since then, Ayub has publicly attacked me. And I laughed about it at one point, but then it's made me wonder, if I was so nicey nice about him, then what is it that I did say that has caused him to lash out or to be offended? Have I got my foot on his tail? Have I said something that is important? Well, what did I say that could be negative? The first thing that I remember saying that could be taken badly by him was that potentially his cryptocurrency, I didn't say his, but I said cryptocurrency in this day and age could be used for money laundering and drugs, to cover your tracks. So that was the one thing. So maybe that's true. Maybe Ayub is a drug dealer still. Something that I do know about drug dealers, because I've grown up around a lot of them. Once a drug dealer, always a drug dealer. Most of the boys that I know at my age now that do sell drugs, they've sold drugs since we were teenagers, and it's all they know. That is their one and only skill. And it's very difficult. I hear some of my friends, they'll say, oh, I want to go legit. I want to go legit. I've got this plan to save money, start a business. I want to go legit. They never do it. I can't think of one example. Obviously, I wouldn't say a name anyway, but I can't think of one example of somebody that I know that grew up selling drugs who has managed to just stop. So, maybe I've got Ayub there. Maybe Ayub is a drug dealer still, and maybe he is pretending that his money is clean by talking about crypto. I mean, cool. Maybe I did make a mistake in the past by going soft on Ayub, because now that I'm looking at that, that certainly would be valuable in this case. If Ayub is known for running county lines and roping people in to do his dealing, then if he is still active in that world, there is nothing to stop us from believing that Jay might have been running, or Lucy, because it's quite apparent from everybody that knows her in multiple countries that she is a drug dealer. So how do we know that this is not just he's taken his operation out of Wales and blasted it into the wider scheme of things? So yeah, okay, maybe I did make a mistake. It's not because I'm covering for Ayub. I couldn't give two shits about Ayub. People think I was covering for him when I was just being true to myself, and he's daft enough to say this, say that. So now, the gloves are off. I've said what I've said. I wonder, the reality is, unless somebody comes to us and says, I've been buying drugs off him, or, whatever, then we're never going to know. And the chances of that happening is slim. But I don't know. And I'm not accusing him of anything. I'm just saying, I wonder, what is it that I said that troubled him? There is potentially going to be more conversation similar to what happened with Ayub and the Central Club. It's not definitely, but if the people are watching this video, come on, let's make that happen. For the greater good. For the greater good. I'm just quite frustrated at all times by this case, because I get what Duncan is trying to do. He's just trying to go through every option, but I don't like the way that he's doing it, the way he's just dragging people's names in who are nothing to do with it. Okay, saying about Ayub, or saying about Lucy, or saying about these people who are literally involved in the case, fair enough. But then he was attacking Cullen, then he's attacking me, then he's attacking the fact that we've had criminal records. Do you really think that the entire internet needed to hear my personal business that I don't choose to talk about? How disrespectful of you. And now to be going and talking about some random business that rents out quad bikes, and literally making the suggestion that they might be involved in drugs and stuff. That's so rotten. And just for the record, because you never know who's watching these videos, my criminal record is for something that I'm very embarrassed about. It happened when I was a teenager, and I got into a fight in Cardiff city centre where I was outnumbered, and ultimately I won the fight. But at whose expense? It's not something that I like to talk about. I'm trying to live a better life, I've had challenges with things like getting work, or people judge you like I was judged for it just because I wanted to talk about the Jay Slater case. It was something that happened many years ago. I'm 35. It's nearly 20 years ago that happened, and I've got no criminal record since. I believe my conviction is spent. I have frequent DBS checks for the job that I'm in. I work with youth homelessness. I try to be good. So please don't disrespect me, because of some mistake that I made many years ago. And I don't even look at it as I made a mistake. I just look at it as I did what I had to do in the moment and have learned a lot in how to manage desperate situations from that. Because what you think is right in the moment isn't always right for life. Less about me. It's just not right to be tarnishing people's names. I didn't have to explain that, but I'm glad that I did. You know, this whoever owns this quad bike company, if I was them, I would be fuming. I'm surprised that nobody's brought up a lawsuit against this man yet. So yeah, I guess I'm gonna wrap it up here. I just wanted to vent a little bit because ultimately this is my vlog. This is where I get to sit in my car and talk my shit. So that is what I will do. Just wondering if there's anything else. I was wondering if Mama D could pull my cards, read my tarot cards. Also, that's my thumb, just in case she needs to compare it. Just in case, yeah, you need to. I bite my nails, so they're not looking great. Anyway, all right, look, I've said everything I need to say. I'm sorry that I get vexed, but I'm passionate. I'm very passionate, and I am a very animated character. That is just who I am. Oh, that is something else. I quite frequently get negative people in my comments. It affects my mental health. It honestly stresses me out. It upsets me. It hurts my feelings. So if you're going to come into my comments and you're going to be just genuinely negative and rude, you will just get hidden from channel, because this isn't Jake Slater world. This is Be Wild Vlog. This is my vlog. Yeah, I post stuff with my family, my daughter, my mates play golf. You know, this is my place. I'm not going to let people affect me like that, because that's in the real world. That's how I deal with it. Free speech is great, but if you're going to say what you're going to say in my ear, I'll walk away. Or bah, joking, that's not me. But you know what I'm saying? Like, I've got no problem just blocking people from my channel. I know Duncan says, you know, free speech, cool. Well, that's fine. Not for me. Don't come on my page talking your rubbish. If you look at some of the comment sections of my videos, there are people that don't agree with me and they make good points, and I always speak to them with the utmost respect. I always say, yes, fair play, that's a good point. Let me reevaluate my thinking based off of that. Oh, that's something actually. A lady in my comments yesterday or the day before made a brilliant point in regards to the idea that Jay Slater was not murdered. Their point was, how could that be the case when you look at the fact that Jay's mum had that message when she landed in Tenerife saying, your boy owes us a lot of money, you're never going to see him again, such and such. That's such a good point. I don't understand why Debbie Duncan, Jay Slater's mum, didn't chase that up. If I'd had a kid go missing in Tenerife and I've been told, look, you need to get out here, it's serious, and I've flown over, landed on my phone, you know, I'd be so heightened and stressed by that point. The first thing I do is call back. Hello, what do you mean? What's going on? What can I do to help? You know, and if they don't answer, I'd be texting, but the way she said it was like she just brushed it off like, oh, that's just kids being silly and trolling. That doesn't add up. That doesn't add up. But look, I'm going to wrap the video up. I just want to say, as amateur sleuths and internet investigators, armchair detectives, I think we all need to do a bit better. I think we need to stop this petty beef, stop this Luggy and Chris and me versus Mama D, Duncan, and whoever Duncan's crew are. Let's stop the beef. Let's squash the beef. And let's stop pointing fingers and naming names of people and businesses that you have no evidence of done any wrong. Let's focus on the people involved in the case. Let's do better. I know that I sure will. I've done enough babbling, but as I said, this is my vlog and I can do what I want. Loves you. Ta-da!